and put the VAT back in again, so maybe a couple £100. But basically all that work on a Dacia is wiped out completely. So I popped down to my friends at MPD and we're going to see if they can check the battery charging for me. Well, it's back, and as you saw earlier, I've been to the customer's house to pick the car up. So they got it back on a Thursday, and they've messaged me on a Sunday evening to say they've gone to drive it on Sunday and the battery is dead flat again. So I've gone to pick it up. When I got there, checked it was only around about 4 volts. So I had to put the jump pack on it to get it started. It's charging at 14.4. I popped round to my friends at MPD over there, got a printout on the car running. Now obviously I'd only just picked it up, so the battery wasn't fully charged yet, but their printout says that the battery is charging as it should do. So I'm a bit of a loss. I mean, obviously the obvious thing is parasitic drain from sitting there, but bear in mind she said it's sitting for 3 days and the battery's drained. I had it sitting outside here, didn't I, for 5 days, checked every morning, always had 12 volts on the battery. It started every single time, it was always charging at 14 volts, so I had it for longer than her sitting, and it didn't lose any power at all. So comment down below, what do you think's happening? What is going on with this car? I want it right for her. It's her daughter's first car. Her daughter hasn't had a chance to get out and enjoy it because every time she comes to it, it's got a dead battery. I mean, normally they're leaving it between weekends before they do it, but like I say, I've had it that long and it's not drained it at all. I don't understand what's going on at all. So yeah, comment down below. What are you thinking? I know you're going to say parasitic drain, but why didn't that happen when it sat with me for 5 days? Under exactly the same circumstances. Why didn't it happen to me, but it has happened to her straight away again? So I'm going to get the battery fully charged. I'm going to take the battery out now, get it fully charged up. I'm going to take it back over to MPD again and have them run their battery tester on it one more time with it fully charged. Excuse me. Sorry, I lost you a second there. Yeah, I'm going to go charge the battery up out of the car, take it over, get it checked again, get another printout on it, so at least I can give the lady 2 printouts on it. I've asked her if I'm okay to drive it home and back tonight because I want to see if driving the vehicle makes any difference whatsoever. With that alternator running, all it should really do is charge the battery up, shouldn't it? But see if I'm left with a flat battery in the morning or not. But I'm a bit of a loss what else to do, to be honest, guys. If every time it comes to me the battery is fine and it's not losing any charge and it's charging up as it should, I mean, should I remove this Bluetooth, this Toyota Bluetooth up here? You know, but then again, I just can't see it's a parasitic drain because that didn't happen when it sat with me for 5 days. And to be honest, it should have, because the only thing I did was go and cycle the key and check the battery on it. So the fact that I kept cycling the key and not moving the vehicle at all, I would have thought it would be worse. But yeah, comment below. You more experienced people, let me know what your thoughts are. I've moved some stuff back outside again. I cleaned the KA today just to have a quick look at how it came up. All that sort of tree sap and tar came off, but I'm obviously waiting on panels for this now. I am going to fix it. All you guys have commented. I'm definitely going to go ahead and fix this car. All of your guesses on the price side of things, or what your thoughts on the price, I think were bang on. Most of you said either 2795 or 2995 done. Some of you said as high as 3495 done. Not sure about that. You might be cheeky and get away with a 3195, but I think 2995 is the point to get. So I'll show you in a second. We'll price up what the price of the panels are going to be on that and see where we are with that. I moved the alto back out again because I've got that crash sensor coming, which is only 20 quid, I think, all in, wasn't it? I have found there's another 2 inside the car. So there are 2 in. There's only 1 on the front chassis leg, but there's 2 in the side of the car on the inner sills underneath the trim. So, but it's the same sensor by the looks of it on all of them. So I'll be able to swap it around and see which one works. Big news is the Yaris is in the ramps. A lot of you have been getting on my case about the Yaris and saying, you know, crack on and get it done. It's the last car from the 9-car flip. I've sold all the other cars from the 9-car flip. This is the only one I've got left. When I bought all those 9 cars in one lump, go back and see that video if you've seen it before. It's most cars I've ever bought in one go. I bought 9 in one lump from BCA. Had to prep them all, get them all sold as quick as I could, because I'm short on space as always and time. So yeah, if you haven't seen that video, I'll put it on the end of this one. Go back and see the 9-car purchase. This is the last one from the 9-car purchase, 2009 Toyota Yaris. It was a Cat N when I bought it already, so it had already been repaired. It's got some scuffs down the side of it, and it needs a clutch. And unfortunately, I took a little bit of bad advice and just put a clutch, the throw-out bearing in when I should have put the clutch in as well, which everyone's going to be yelling now. Why would you ever do that? Well, I won't. Trust me, I won't do that going forwards. They'll always get both. So my mate Scotty, we'll see if he wants to be on the channel a little bit later tonight. He wants to come and pull a late with me and help me get it done. So I'm going to get as much done as I can in between then. As I always say to you, I'm not a mechanic, but I've done a few of these gearbox removals now, and I have to say all the cars, what surprised me when I got started in this game is how all the cars are pretty much the same. Let me just stop the camera set and show you what I mean by this is the idea of taking a gearbox off of a car, swapping a clutch out, absolutely terrified me before, because all I'd done is before I left my corporate job and started doing this full time, all I'd ever done is a little bit of light fettling on cars. But now I've done a few. I've done a lot on Fiat 500s and I've done a couple on these Igos now. It's not anywhere near as scary as you think it'd be. And what I mean is, when they're all the same, is a lot of you mechanics are going to think I'm stupid for saying this, but if you don't know, you don't know. The layout is almost exactly all the same on all the cars. The gearbox is to the right here with the engine. And once you've got out the battery and the battery tray and you've lifted those out, you can see, especially on these small cars, these are so easy, you can see all of the gearbox bolts all the way around the outside. So all you need to do is pop the wheels off, undo your drop links and your lower arms. You just give the drive shafts a little bit of a dap with a hammer and a socket, pop them out either side, undo all your bolts around the outside of the gearbox. And on these cars, they drop straight down. Some of them it's a bit tight against the subframe, but on these small cars, they drop straight down. So we're going to crack on and do that, and with Scotty, and put that clutch in. And I'm going to constantly be annoyed through the whole process that I didn't do the clutch when I did the clutch release bearing before. And again, yeah, feel free to comment below and slag me off for that. It's a dumb move. Don't do it. If you've got a gearbox that has an internal slave as well, always do it at the same time. On these, it's an external slave, but always do that as well. Yeah, it was a dumb move. Someone was absolutely adamant that the release bearing was the only thing that was wrong. They took it out. It spun up really badly. I already had the gearbox out at that point. I could have put the clutch in. It would have been an extra 10 minutes or so, but it didn't. And for the sake of 50 quid for a clutch as well. So lesson learned there. Again, I always say for you guys, a lot of this channel is about you learning off my mistakes. And I've always said I'll be 100% honest with you when I balls up on stuff. And there's an example. So anyway, enough talk. Let's get cracking. Get this stripped down, ready, get it up in the air first, get the drive shafts, wheels off, drive shafts out, get this battery tray out, so we're all ready when Scotty's in just to pull the gearbox out, put the new clutch in. I took all the bolts out around the top of the engine, took the bolt out the back of the engine for the starter motor, popped the drive shafts either side out of it. Afraid the battery ran out on the phone, which is on the camera, which is why I haven't got the in-between bits. And now my mate Scotty is up the ladder. I'm doing the gearbox mount, and I'm supposed to be underneath holding the gearbox ready to catch it. But so I better put this down for a second or two, and we'll get back to when we've got the gearbox out. So gearbox is out. We've got to now get the old clutch out. So we'll crack on and do that. And I'll show you what the friction plate looks like when we get it out. So we've got the old friction plate out here. It's not horrendous. It's pretty close to the rivets on the back there, but the plate here does show that it's been getting hot and definitely slipping. So, and the original clutch we've taken out has got Toyota written on it, so I think it's the original clutch, and this has now done 90,000 miles. No, 100,000 miles. Yeah, it says Toyota just here. See that? So I think that's probably the original clutch, quite possibly. But got the new one here, so we'll wang that in and see what happens. So Scott and I got a little bit overexcited and forgot to video as I went along. Oh, sorry, I just dropped the light on him. 2 seconds. Right, take 2 without any injuries. Scott and I got a bit excited and cracked on and forgot to video. We got the gearbox put back on again. He hopped up the top and put the engine mount back on while I held the gearbox underneath in place. We dapped the drive shafts back in again. Put the hub nuts on, which we've still got to torque when the vehicle's down on the ground. We held the gearbox in with a couple of the larger bolts. Underneath now we've put the starter motor bolts in, so we're cracking on now, putting all the bigger bolts all around the outside of the gearbox to make that finally secure. Scott's putting the last bolt in the starter motor from the back. Then you've just got to put all this cabling back in here again, like the slave and some other bits and bobs. Oh, I've got to put the mount on for the, that's the tricky bit, I've got to put the mount on for the gear selectors, which are down here somewhere. Let's get them up and show you what I'm talking about. I've got to get this mount here onto these holes here, which is always a bit of a game lining them up. I know you can pull these clips, but I always find them a real pain to get back on again, so I'd rather take the bolts out. Once done that, put the battery tray in and we'll be able to test the Yaris and finally see if we've got it running and driving after sitting for so long, being procrastinated on apparently, according to Scott. Together, so let's get it moving back and forth and see if it was the clutch and if we've done it right. Let's go for reverse. First. We got all the gears, and I'm not having any problem selecting them, which is the problem I was before, where basically I really had to force it into gear. So finally, looks like the clutch is done on the Yaris. Doesn't mean we're done yet. Obviously it's got to have a good old clean up and it's got to have a proper test drive now, but thanks to Scotty and kicking my rear end, looks like we've got the Yaris up and running. So I decided that wasn't a long enough run really to prove it, so sorry it's dark. Scotty stayed late with me to this, but here we are in the Yaris, going around the industrial estate, through the gears, and it is good as gold. So final talk up of everything, and like I say, tomorrow so you can get a big old clean up. So the silver Picanto went through auction. You remember the one that had the problem with the engine smoking? I put it through Copart, so I decided that it wasn't worth fixing because I thought the rings had gone. I put it through Copart. I did the right thing as putting it through as a mechanical failure through Copart. Courtesy that wasn't done to me obviously when I bought it from BCA with it being faulty, so the person knew there was going to be a problem with it. So I bought the car for £1,000 and it sold for £1,000. But the issue obviously is, after fees from Copart, then picking it up, bringing in all the fees, I'm only left with £791 on the sale. So let's have a quick look at what I had in the car. So the problem is I've got my spreadsheet open here, which I have for each individual car. I have a build sheet for them to know what I put in. And my total costs, the car actually cost me £1,100 at auction, and then it cost me £224 in fees and £100 delivery. So by the time it got here, it already owed me £1,400. There's a few other odds and sods, but it meant that I had £1,467 in it after what I got for it. £791.20 is what I got for it. I had £1,462. I've lost £675 on that car. I can reclaim £34.80 in VAT, but that still has me a loss of £641. That basically completely wipes out all of the profit on the Dacia deal. Pretty much completely wipes it out. Major bummer. Show you what I mean. If we look at the Dacia sold for £395. The true margin was £1,298, so that's what I made after all my costs. For the margin scheme, I've got a £2,915 margin in the car, which means I'm paying the VAT man £583 from that sale. Means my net profit is £715. I can claim back £152 in VAT off the parts I bought, so my true profit is probably £870. But then obviously I've got a loss on the Picanto of £641. So before I claim back the VAT, I've got a balance of £74.93. So like I say, I can put the VAT back in again, so maybe a couple £100. But basically all that work on a Dacia is wiped out completely by that bad purchase of that KA. And unfortunately with the VAT man, you can't offset losses on one car against another. So on this one I can't take £600 and offset it against the Dacia. The VAT, the £580 I'm paying on the Dacia, I've got to pay the £580 on the Dacia and just eat everything on the Kia Picanto. The only thing I can claim back is the VAT off of the parts. That's the only thing I can claim back. Seems a little unfair, doesn't it, that you can't offset the loss of one car against another car when it comes to paying the VAT on the margin scheme, but that's the way it works. I show you all of this to be brutally honest, like I say, about this model, and also say when you go to a dealer and you see about getting a car, I think there's a misconception they're all making a fortune off of these cars. You know, yes, they may make £1,000 out of you on your car, but there's another car they might lose completely on, and obviously there could be future claims off the Dacia for repair work, warranty work, that will further eat into things. So you just got to basically keep on plodding through. I mean, this is one little setback. We've just got to keep on plodding through and do the best we can with the rest of the cars we've got.